If everyone could take their seats, please. Nadine, would you? I would like to call to order tonight's regular meeting of the CUSD 201 Board of Education, October 24th, 2017. And roll call, please.
Ms. Ambrose.
Here.
Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mrs. Charlton.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here.
Mr. Strohmeyer.
Here.
Ms. Wilson.
Here.
Thank you.
And just as a matter of record, Mr. Carey, the superintendent, is not here tonight, but he'll be here at the next meeting. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is approval of minutes. So for October 10th, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the October 10, 2017 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Abstain.
opposed? One abstain?
I abstain.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion carried. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the October 10, 2017 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
I abstain.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, are there any public comments? Okay, then we will move to Celebrate Success from the WTA, and this is the District Science Initiative.
Good. Okay. I think we're all ready. Good evening, and thanks for having us. We're here from the district, I'm not sure what we're calling ourselves these days, but the Citizen Science Committee, maybe. And we're going to talk tonight, just to briefly talk about the work that we've done in the last 5 months or so, and then about the Citizen Science Expo that we put together, which was held on September 29th at the high school. Our first goal as a group was to create a mission statement to figure out what we were all about. We wanted to get together to talk science because we're all the science nerds that love that kind of stuff. And so we wanted to develop our mission, and it says something like to collaboratively build educational spaces created for students, the community, and the environment. These spaces will offer hands-on, inclusive, experiential opportunities for everyone to grow socially, emotionally, and intellectually. So that's what we thought we wanted to be in charge of, and we thought was important for our students. We then talked about a vision and goals and some timeline and phases of how we wanted to get things done. We met, so far we've met 7 times since June. We met 4 times over the summer. We met to develop a mission, vision, and goals and create a community event. We called that event the Citizen Science Expo. We, as we met, we discussed curriculum, integrating these projects within the classroom, and also integrating them K-12 so that we could do them at different buildings, but with maybe high school kids students coming to the junior high, or some elementary schools as well. So covering the whole range of working with all our students. We want to emphasize, and you'll see this in a later slide, that we grow what we have, and that's part of our farmers market and part of our initiative as well. And as we continue to do our work, we're going to develop some subcommittees that will help to facilitate some of this work. So before I move any further, I wanted to introduce the wonderful people, some of the wonderful people that are on the committee with us. And they're here tonight that we're going to take a few turns sharing that information, and they can introduce themselves when they get up here. But I did want to share one of the big things that we've been working on is obtaining grants so that we can do some of this work. We have 5 grants sort of in the works. 4 have been awarded. 1 is in the process, and that is the IDNR grant, and that will be a grant at the junior high. But we have grants at the high school, we've had at the elementary at Manning School, and then at the junior high as well. So a variety of different ways to implement science and citizen science within our district. So we had our inaugural event, and we're hoping to do this annually. From what we could tell, as we collected our raffle tickets, we had over 40 families that attended the event from all of our schools in the district. Some of the families attended and then were on their way to the football game, so that was a nice segue for them to see that. Some of them stopped by the farmer's market table and bought stuff along the way, so they saw all of our information. They went to the farmer's market and then made their way to the football game. And we had, I think, at least 10 booths that were set up in a variety of different sciencey capacities. And we're going to have another individual talk about each of the booths and what was going on that night. So Karen Niemeyer's here.
I'm Karen Niemeyer. I am currently teaching 7th grade science at the junior high, and we had representatives from all the schools at this expo. Some of the booths that we had Guess the Seed from, I know that was from Miller, and we also had composting that Manning had brought over. We had, as we call the chicken lady, Miss Ashley Ritter from Manning. She does a lot with the chickens with her program over at Manning, and so she partners with a local family that brings the chickens. So I don't know if you can see, I think, is she hugging? She's hugging one of the chickens, right? Okay, so she's hugging a big fluffy chicken. And we also had representation from DuPage, the County Farm Bureau, and different booths that had also the Richmond Gardens that's up and coming in our neighborhood, actually, where I live, and just different other booths there. That was the art up at the corner. There's some natural art from Mrs. Graham and Mrs. Jacobs from the high school. There were raffle items that were fresh eggs, tomatoes, pumpkins, and one of the popular items that people wanted to win was the honey from the high school, and I think that's next.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hoopman. I work at the high school in the science department, and this is our 3rd year with the farmers market, and it's been very successful. The garden is continuing to grow. I was actually surprised. I didn't know that we would be able to beat last year's harvest of 900 pounds, but we did it. Just barely, but we did it. So the kids were very excited about that. And it was definitely a good year. This is one of our outdoor education spaces, and we also donated more to the People's Resource Center, which was very important to us, and it really teaches the kids to give back. So overall, it's been a fantastic year with the garden.
Speaking of honey and the garden, I'd like to think that our bees helped that a little bit. So, and also the garden helped with a great nectar source, because we had over 20 pounds of honey, which is actually on a first-year hive, which is very rare to get. So we were very excited. As you can see, the kids are incredibly excited, and we're excited to expand to 3 hives next year, thanks in part to Johnny Karish and a community Eagle Scout project that we put together a hive, hoping the bees are going to be that much better next year.
And then going off of that, the high school is going to reach out to the junior high through the SCORE grant funds, and we're going to build an additional raised bed over at the junior high. And that's going to be engineered and designed by our high school students, and then gifted and helped out over at the junior high. So, and the kids are kind of giving back to their district at the high school level, and then also increasing our community outreach and growing the program. So it carries on over to the high school.
Are you sure? Okay. Anyway, I just want to thank all of our wonderful committee members that work on this and are passionate about science. There is it obviously showed that there was a great need for people to come and see that and be involved with it because so many families showed up, so we were really pleased about that. And I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight, and thank you for having us. And do you have any questions?
Well, I have a comment.
Yes.
Basically, that I was at the football game, and when I was leaving, I was walking out with another family, and it was a family from the opposing side. And they were going on and on about all of that they saw when they got there, because they didn't know what was happening, and they were just like overlooking.
Sure, yeah.
So if you saw somebody strange, it was probably this family. Then they saw the garden and thought that was really great. So then I started telling them, well, there's bees. Do you want to go see them?
Yeah.
And see that? But it was really nice to hear that from somebody outside of our district that was talking about the fact that, they're like, well, this is a really small district, isn't it? And it's really great that you guys have this. So, and then, they saw all the kids participating in a lot of that stuff, so.
Yeah, there were lots of students that came to participate. It just wasn't adults. We had some junior high students that ran the junior high table and the games. There was obviously many high school students there with the farmers market. They were involved in the behind the scenes as well.
I mean, I got to the game, I got there late, so I didn't get to do all that, so I could see all that, so I knew what this person was referring to, having all the kids there and everything. So I just wanted to tell you it's kind of nice to hear from, I don't even remember who we were playing that night, but it was really kind of nice to hear that from someone that's not even in our district, so.
Great, thank you.
And I really appreciate the way that you've incorporated kind of longer-term projects into this with the bees and the gardening and all of that. So the students see from the beginning to the end point and everything in between, just to get a full experience. It's, it's one thing to see a video about something or to learn something in the classroom, but when you really are hands-on and you understand the time it takes and the work and the effort and the rewards that come from it, I think it's a much richer educational experience.
We agree.
Absolutely.
Good for many students.
I love that, first of all, you've got so much of this hands-on stuff for the kids. That's just fantastic, not just book stuff. I love that you're engaging with the community with stuff with like the People's Resource Center and like you were saying with the Eagle Scout project. That's so cool. I always love when different groups are able to reach out to other groups and work together and do things like that. And I think it's a great experience for the kids to realize, hey, we don't always have to do things by ourselves. Who else can we look to for help on things? That's so valuable. But then I also love that you guys are pursuing these grants because we're really trying to be thrifty with our budget and everything, and that's phenomenal. That's so much appreciated that we're able to do stuff like this and get its own funding in a lot of ways. So that's delightful. Thank you.
Yep. Well, thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
sharing this. Okay, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any questions?
Oh, I did have a question on the leaves of absence, because they're all seem like they're older. And so I was wondering if that was something that just got delayed in the office, or if there was something else that was,
Those were,
seems like they should be.
they should be in advance. Those were submitted to us late. They were not submitted originally, and so when I noticed that they had more than 3 days off, then I reached out to them about their absences and then had them put in the leave of absence requests.
Okay.
And so I have talked with the union about getting those in advance.
Is there anything else? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Number 1, personnel recommendations. Number 2, student tour request. Number 3, renewal of medical and dental insurance plans. 4, renewal of life and long-term disability insurance. 5, approval of AFR shared services or outsourcing requirement report. 6, approval of October 2017 expenditure report. And 7, ratification of September 2017 regular payroll.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Ms. Ambrose,
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Stromeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the first item under discussion for tonight, according to the agenda, says a cost benefit of district initiatives. We will pull that and present that at the first meeting in November when Mr. Carey is back. So then the second item is presentation of monthly financial statements.
I have 2 months for you, so we'll first look at August. During the month of August, we received $360,000 from the state, and there were $352,000 of FY17 payments vouchered, but not released at that point in time. And the majority of that was for the fourth quarter mandated categoricals. Also, right at the end of August, Senate Bill 1947 was sent to the governor to be signed, had not yet been approved, and we had a presentation about that at the last board meeting. There were $17,000 worth of FY18 payments vouchered, and that was for grants. Nothing for general state aid had been vouchered yet at that time, which was unusual this year. And we received one installment of the 2016 tax levy in the amount of $338,000. Total taxes collected to date were $12.2 million, and that was a 53% collection rate, which is comparable to the last couple years. And again, in the ed, O&M, and transportation funds, our revenues are where they should be at that point in time, and the same with the expenditures. Does anybody have questions on any of the other related documents for August? Okay, and then September. During the month of September, we received $256,000 from the state, and $240,000 of that was for our FY18 general state aid payment, which got released because Senate Bill 1947 was signed by the governor. And then $15,000 of that was for FY17 payments. There are $405,000 of FY17 payments vouchered, but still not released. And we did, though, receive an additional $50,000 during the month of September for Idea Room and Board that we were not expecting. It was for some excess cost allocation. The state had some extra money and actually sent it to districts who had certain qualifications, so that was a nice surprise for the district.
Can you tell us just what the IDEA room is for people that...
The individual, Linda, help me out. Disabilities Education Act.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, having a brain freeze here.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. The state still owes the district for fourth quarter mandated categorical payments and some grants. Now, we did just receive information this week that the state is finally vouchering the fourth quarter payments, so we should be receiving those in the next couple weeks. We were not sure that we were going to receive those payments, so that was good news. Let's see, what else? And then we received 3 installments of the tax levy during the month of September, totaling $9.5 million. Total collected to date is $21.7 million, and so we've received 94.5% of our levy, again, which is comparable to the last couple years, and we should receive a little bit more money in the next couple months. Revenues in the ed fund are comparable to the prior year. Again, $255,000 we received from the state, and there's $228,000 of FY17 payments still owed in the ed fund, and $75,000 of fiscal year 18 payments. In the transportation fund, we received $124,000 for FY17. That was for the third quarter, and the fourth quarter payment has not been released yet. And then there's, they vouchered the first payment of FY18 as well. And then expenditures in the ed fund comparable to the prior year. And in the O&M fund, again, we're running on target. The O&M fund was 19% spent to date, and it was 16% spent to date at this time last year. And then the transportation fund, we really haven't spent any money because we have not paid Subtran or Westway bills yet. And then the investments are attached, as well as fund balance and the activity accounts. Does anybody have questions?
No.
No, I did want to, first of all, thank you again for the presentation that you gave us at the last board meeting about where we're going and what we don't know yet, which is probably more than what we do know. But I do find it interesting, all the commercials that are running now about how the school budgets have been fixed. Everything's great. I found that, I was chuckling to myself the other day when I saw that commercial, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's wonderful that we got some found money. That's a nice.
Yes, that was a good thing.
That's a nice thing. But it will be interesting as we go forward and you learn more about how that's gonna.
Yeah, they said
play out.
probably November, December, we should know what tier we're in and some more information about the new funding model.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then, under action items, we have two items. The first one is approval of school-wide Title I plans. Do you want to, are you talking about that?
No, Nadine will
Nadine, okay.
answer questions.
Good evening. Prepared for you in the board packet is the updated school-wide plans for the high school, Miller School, and for the junior high. In 2015, the board approved the shift from those schools being targeted assistance for Title I to school-wide. And so the state requires that those plans be updated on an annual basis based on needs analysis. I think it has not been in the past required that the board approve those plans when we update them. The initial approval is just to shift us from targeted assistance to school-wide, but I feel like it's a prudent idea to have you review those plans and to approve them now, because we're in a totally different governing law. Previous to this year, we were working under NCLB, and now we're working under ESSA, so just to be on the safe side, feel like I should provide those plans for you and have you officially approve them. Do you have any questions at all?
Since you switched, I mean, I imagine it's better than it was before, since you asked, are looking at it again.
What the school-wide plans have afforded us to be able to do is to use the Title I funds in a much more flexible manner. So rather than targeting the funds to only impact a certain number of students, the students that are at risk or the students that are underperforming, this being school-wide provides an opportunity for us to use those funds to improve our educational program as a whole. So the programs that we utilize those funds for touch all of our students, so we're able to provide some resources that we wouldn't otherwise have a chance to purchase. So that's why the school-wide plans or being school-wide is a much more beneficial program than being targeted assistance. So that those kind of outlining what the principals will utilize those funds for in the school-wide plans, and that's based on data and based on kind of a needs analysis that the school team has come up with. So.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Then the chair will entertain a motion to approve the school-wide Title I plans for Miller Elementary, Westmont Junior High, and Westmont High School as presented.
So moved?
Second?
And roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Stromeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Ambrose,
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, then the next item is expenditure authorization for Pepper Construction Company final pay application. And this is you, Kim, so sorry.
Yes. We're wrapping up all of our projects with Pepper. And, they had done the sidewalks and stuff over the summer. And so Steve Cashman is in the process of reviewing all the final documentation and waivers and everything. And so we need to get Pepper paid probably most likely before the next board meeting. So I'm just asking for authorization to do that final pay out of them before that November 14th board meeting. It should be less than $100,000. So I just, Steve didn't have everything approved, and I wanted to make sure the board is comfortable with me releasing that check prior to that meeting.
There's no surprises there, right? There was no
No.
runs or anything
No.
like that? Yeah, no, I'm
No.
fine. I'm fine with it.
It's funny what you hear. I have heard handful of people comment on the cement and the sidewalks and the W at the high school that have been fixed. It's funny what people really do notice and stuff, so glad we did that. Okay, any other questions or comments? The chair will entertain a motion to authorize and direct the treasurer to pay Pepper Construction Company for the final pay application as presented.
I'll move.
Second?
And roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Stromeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Ambrose.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the superintendent's report, and Kevin has given me 2 items to relay. First of all, under communications, October 20th, 2017 was Principal's Day. We would like to thank the Manning principal, Lindsay Petrozak, Miller principal, Tim Weiler, junior high principal, John Jonak, and the high school principal, Jack Balderman. CUSD 201 is very fortunate to have such high-quality principals leading our schools. And the second item is joint committee information. The following 4 committees are comprised of CUSD 201, staff, administrators, parents, and community members. The committees will meet all of the committees will meet on the same evening. The committees will meet from 6:30 to 8 o'clock on November 7th, January 16th, and May 1st in the high school commons. More information will be going out about that, but if you have never been to one of these meetings or if you are interested in joining, please do so, because it is open to everybody. So the committees are Strategic Plan Committee. This committee reviews and monitors the implementation of the district strategic plan. The committee makes recommendations about revisions to the plan and monitors the implementation. Another committee is the Climate Committee. That makes suggestions on ways the district can enhance the climate in the schools. The committee will also review and evaluate character education curriculum and programs, and the committee will also review school climate data. The Finance Committee reviews district financial data and information from the state regarding school funding. The committee will assist the district in prioritizing the needs of CUSD 201. The Facility Committee will review and monitor the implementation of the district facility plan. The committee will assist in prioritizing the needs of the district. The committee will also assist in making recommendations to the Finance Committee on possible capital development projects. Public Relations Committee helps to promote and share positive news about the district. The committee will review current communication practices in place and make suggestions on how the district can share information more effectively and to a larger audience. And the last one is the Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee, the BPAC. It is a group of bilingual parents with English learner students and parents who have students in the dual language program. The purpose of the group is to form a collaborative union between school district parents, teachers, and administrators. In addition, parents can learn how to support their children's progress in school. And also, BPAC participates in a review of spending of grant funds. So then, are there any board reports?
Well, I would just like to piggyback on top of what you were just saying about those joint committees. There's a lot of work that's done there. There's a lot of good work that's done there. They always can use more volunteers from the community, particularly, parents. Please get involved. Those last two committees that have formed are actually newer committees, the PR committee and the BPAC. So no reason not to get involved. It's just going to help everybody make the schools better. So if you have the time, please do.
And I know when we talked about this before, I will reiterate and ask Kevin, especially since the first meeting's coming up in November, to send out an email to everybody to, for everybody to come on in. And it is also community members that can
join in, yes.
participate. So,
You don't have to be a
and that has happened in the past, so.
I would also ask Kevin maybe to specifically ask the PTO president and the booster president to reach out to members of those organizations. I know they already do a lot for us, but the joint committees, they only meet a couple times a year. They don't really take a lot of time.
Right. Thank you. Okay, any other board reports?
I do. This past Sunday was the Manning Monster Mile, and Rick was there with his family, and I had volunteered to do a water station, and it was so much fun. It was well attended in spite of the weather, but it was so much fun to see the kids in their costumes and the capes flying by when they rounded the bend, and the parents dressed up. And my station was at the very entrance of Ty Warner, and all the festivities were across the field. But many people had gotten out to walk their dogs, and they would say, "What are you doing here? Why are parents dressed up? Why are kids running? Why are they this or that?" They hadn't made it all the way around, and they were really impressed. They said, "What a great school that would do this as a fundraiser, and how fun is that the parents are all engaged with the kids." And it was just so nice to hear community comments from people that were either running themselves and got caught up into the run with the kids, and people that were just there to walk their dogs. It was very, very nice to hear complimentary comments about the district, about the Manning School and the PTO, and what a great idea. And actually, some had said, well, if they do it again, I would sign up. So that was really nice. It was fun.
That's great. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, just a real quick comment. Next Tuesday is Halloween, and I get a lot of questions every year about whether or not there's any kind of official hours, and the answer is yes. For the Village of Westmont, the official hours are from 2 to 7 p.m., so I know a lot of the families with younger kids and stuff like that do appreciate it when they don't have trick-or-treaters going into the late hours of the evening. So you can start early, but 7 o'clock is when they like for people to wrap it up.
And I'm going to bring this up in a minute under events, but the high school fall play is this weekend, Friday night at 7, Saturday night at 7, and Sunday at 2 o'clock, and it's the Father of the Bride. So I'm very much looking forward to that, having seen versions of that. So I do believe you can just show up. I know that they are taking some ticket requests in advance, but I do believe that there will be seats available if somebody wanted to just show up. So that will be at the high school. So, okay, any other board reports? Any public comments? Okay, then the future meetings and events. Parent-teacher conferences are this week, October 26th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then also on the 27th, Friday, October 27th, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., and then there's no school on Friday, October 27th. And then, again, the fall play, Father of the Bride, Friday, October 27th at 7 o'clock, Saturday, October 28th at 7 o'clock, and Sunday, October 29th at 2 o'clock at Westmont High School. And I can't turn the page.
You know what, Marie, if I could interject just one quick thought on that, and I think Judy had brought this up in the past. Is there any way to remind the high school to maybe designate some parking close to the building for seniors and anyone who might need it? Right, I mean, you had mentioned that before, right, Judy?
I may have, yeah.
Okay.
I know that Maze Lake loves to come, and some of the other senior.
Right, because they have that one parking lot that's much closer to the building.
Right.
So maybe if we could designate some parking over there.
I actually know someone who's involved with making that place, so I will.
Okay.
I mean, we all do, but I will pass that along, see if they can do that. Okay, and then, as we said, the joint committee meeting is November 7th at 6:30 at the Westmont High School Commons. And then the next school board meeting will be November 14th at 7 o'clock at Westmont Village Hall. And then, Joel, did you get your question answered that you needed?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we will not have closed session tonight. Did anyone else have anything that they wanted to do? So the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.